Hello everyone, and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Today we're going to be finishing off our mega updates with the battle proxy, finishing off the battle code. A lot of this will be new, so I will try to slow things down a little bit and kind of explain my process. In the last episode we looked at sort of the attacks for the player and the enemy, and if you remember correctly, at the end we had 3 custom functions happen. So the end turn was covered, where we kind of finish off that turn for the fighting. We also then had a couple of options. So if our player was dead, for example, we are Ringmon defeated. This is in the enemy, by the way, not in the player. We'll look at the player second because there's a few extra things we need to do. But the Ringmon defeated, or if we carried on, we did the player turn, right? So we either had end turn, player turn, which we covered. But if our player or the party of that the enemy was dead, sorry, if our party was dead, so if we had no more usable party members, our Ringmon were defeated. So we come up to this custom event here called Ringmon defeated. That's where the function's coming from. Excuse me. And then we're going to basically determine what's going to happen if they defeated one of our Ringmon. Okay, sorry, I've just realized something. So we have a party dead. So that's not the whole party. That's checking to see if this party member was dead. Sorry, I should have explained that. So that's just if your player runs out of HP, your character runs out of HP, it's going to say that Ringmon is defeated, okay? It's not going to let you go on and use your attack or end the turn. It's going to say it's dead. We need to kind of determine what's going to happen now, okay? That's the explanation behind that, okay? That's why we're doing that. So then what it's going to do is it's going to destroy that actor because we don't need it anymore. We need to spawn either a new one or end the fight. So then it's going to check for Ringmon, okay? And what that is doing is it's just like the health check we had at the beginning. It's saying, okay, let's scroll through the party, slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to check its HP. So we're getting the final stats. We're breaking from the slot, we're breaking the final stats, and we're getting that HP value. And we're checking to see if it's equal to or over 1. Because anything less than that is technically dead. Okay, so there's no point spawning it in, right? And if we are spawning it in, we need to reset our current party index, okay? To ensure we know who we're focusing on. And so if someone does have health, we're going to also select that specific slot. So for example, now it should never be slot 1. That's technically not great. It's more, we're using that more for if we're swapping in and out party members. That's obviously going to come down the line. But for example, if Herbadger was in my first slot and he had half his health, I swapped him out for whoever was in my slot 2. If I do that, what I need to do is, obviously, I need to still check for this, because obviously if the Ringmon in slot 2 dies, we need to then check to see if the Ringmon in party in slot 1 still has health. So we need to obviously create that function. Okay, so that's why we have that in there. So it's not totally useless. We still need to check it if we have creatures swapped out down the line. So we're just going along basically and seeing which one of our creatures has over 1 HP, and then whichever one does have over 1 HP, we'll spawn it. Now, you can literally just copy this one code 6 times to ensure you have one for every slot. But if all of these come back as below 1, or they're not equal to or higher than 1, we then say all party dead, okay, all party dead, and we select the selected slot to nothing, okay? And then we go back into our event graph, and that's where we then check to see if our party is true or false. Are they dead? It will do the dead first. So if everyone's dead, okay, we do a 2-second delay. We then obviously do a win or lose money function, which I'll go through in a second. we say get the party controller, set it back to game mode. We set the show cursor to false so we don't see the cursor anymore. We remove all the widgets, and then we open up our Corn Wallington level. Now this will change down the line when we flesh out our healing center stuff, because obviously when all of our party's dead, we don't want to spawn back just in the world. We want to make sure we spawn back at a certain location, which would obviously be where we last healed, whether that's at home or whether that's in one of the healing centers we will have around the world. So that will change, but for now we just go back into the overworld, and that's fine. So this win-lose money is mainly for trainer battles, but we obviously do use them when we are looking at losing a wild encounter battle, because of course we will lose a certain amount of money if you find it in most games, you drop some money, don't you, on the fall. That's what they normally say, you dropped money, you dropped £100 or whatever. So let's have a look at this. Now I have obviously created a new trainer slot for this. That is, we have looked at that for the trainer battles, so we are saving all of our trainer information. This is where we're going to start using some of it. So obviously if we've won, we go true. If we haven't, we go false. We get our trainer slot, 301 is the user index, and we cast to the trainer save game. From that we get our trainer information, which just by pulling off and typing get, if I spell it right, get trainer info, and then we break that to get the win money. Okay, obviously I mentioned this briefly before, but the trainer information is obviously all the trainer ID, or the name, the dialogue information, but we also have a win-lose and a defeated boolean as well. So we take that win money and then we're going to add it to our new trainer info. Now that's something I haven't covered, or look at it in a moment, but we're basically going to get the party save game, and we're going to break to get that trainer information, and we're going to set that member in the trainer strut, and we're also going to get our third person character, get the trainer info from our third person character. We're going to break the trainer strut to get the player money. Okay, we're going to add the win money to our player money, and then we're going to set that member in trainer strut, set the trainer information from the party save, not the third person character. We're setting it to our party save, and then we're going to save the game to slot. Okay, we're going to save that information. Okay, we're going to update everything. We're doing that. This is the best way I found to do it, to be honest. It's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but it works. It does work. The reason we're setting that trainer information, we're only setting the member, which is party money. Okay, that's very important. We don't want to wipe anything else out by doing that. And then the loss is exactly the same. The only difference is we're minusing the lose money from the player money. Okay, so we're taking that away from the player money, and then we're setting that. Okay, so it works all of it works exactly the same. It's all set up very, very much the same. It's just that if we're winning or if we're losing, we're just minusing or adding that money from our player money, and then we have to save either way. Okay, very small, very simple function, but it does work. Let's quickly stop here and look at our trainer information that I've set up, just so you guys are all on the same page. Now again, this has to go into the party slot save, so you will have to add into your interface BPI a trainer info section, so that you don't lose all your information. Now I will build upon this trainer information down the line as we get going, but for now it's just got a few basic bits of information in there that we need. So if I find it, where is it? It's trainer strut, and in this trainer strut we've got trainer ID, we've got the trainer name, we've got the player money. Now I've split my inventories up so I can like look through them a little bit easier and find things. Saves creating like indexes to find certain items depending on booleans and blah blah blah. So I've got 4 capture slots, and they're all the same item strut. They're just taking the information they require for certain items. We've got capture item slots, we've got usable item slots, we've got capture inventory, we've got the usable inventory, and we've got the evolution inventory. There will also probably be a key items inventory, but for now I'm not worried about that. And then I've got my ring decks, but we'll cover that in a separate episode, so don't worry about that right now. So all we're worried about is making sure that player money's on there, and then all I've done is I've added it to my third-person character down here. Where is it? It's here at the bottom. Trainer strut. Okay. That way I can. I think if I do that, there you go. And then from here, I should be able to see that information. Here we go. It's on here. All right. So there it is. There. I knew it was there somewhere. Now I have obviously got a player money here. Delete that one out. You don't need it. Okay. It should be in your trainer information at this point. It should not be just on your third-person character. As you can see, I've got it defaulted, so I always start with 500. But again, you can change that to 0 and then make someone give it to them. You know, all that sort of stuff. These arrays, these capture item slot arrays, will always only be 4. At the moment, it's only 1 because I'm testing the capturing out. But you should only ever have 4 in your well, again, it all depends if you're going the way I'm going or if you're going the way of Pokemon. Pokemon, you can access your whole inventory whenever you want it. For me, for a bit of strategy, I only want 4 usable items. I only want 4 capture items in the game at any one point. The rest will all go into these other 3 inventories here, whether it's capture, usable, or evolution. They will sit within one of those 3. And yeah, that's how that is for now. So let's go back to the battle proxy. Here we go. So that's where that information comes from, just so you're aware. As I said, you need to make sure you add that to your blueprint interface and make sure you add them to your game instance, so for the save file and stuff, so that you're saving that information. Otherwise, it will get wiped as you're working on your code and stuff, as you're creating stuff. So that's if we lose some money, and then we just basically go back to the main world. If we have got another Ringmon to spawn, we delay by 2 seconds, and then we have to spawn a party creature. Now this is the same code actually that I used at the beginning to check to see which Pokemon or Ringmon we should spawn, but we'll go through it anyway. It's the spawn party creature. We get all the actors. This should all look very familiar to you at this point. But get all the actors, which is obviously our party spawn target. We get that. We get the actor location and rotation, and we spawn the actor. We also break that selected slot. We break the creature information to get that Ringmon class, so it knows what to spawn. And then we set our party Ringmon. This is important for. Obviously, we know what's important for. It's for obviously deleting the actual Ringmon itself from the world. So we promote this return value to a variable, and that will get you that set. We then have to set obviously our info, IVs, EVs, and final stats, and all of those values come from here. So you pull off from here, get Ringmon information, pull off from here, get IV information, pull off from here, get EV information, pull off from here, get your final stats. And then that all plugs in to your selected party mon. It's all stuff we've covered multiple times before, but I'm doing it again. And then, of course, you just set that information. Back into the event graph, we then get a camera switch. We set it all to none, so it goes back to the main view. We set the visibility of the battle UI, and then we set move and active attack to both false from the battle UI. That's what I'm doing basically when one of my creatures die. Now, it's very similar for the trainer, but there is an extra step we have to cover, which is obviously giving XP and stuff, which is what we'll go over in a moment. But let's go through the enemy defeated function first. Now again, if I go down to the party here, you'll see again when we do our checks to see our enemy health checks and stuff on here, we check to see if it's dead, if that one enemy is dead. If it's true, we have to calculate our team XP, which we'll go through. That's a very lengthy one. It's a very confusing one, so we'll go through that at the end. And then we run our event, enemy defeated event, custom event, okay, which is up here. Right. First things first, we need to check if it's an encounter. If it is, very simple. We don't have to do any team checks. We can just destroy that encounter Ringmon, which is, of course, our enemy. A bit like what we did with our Ringmon. We then do a 2-second delay. We set the game mode back to game only. False for the show cursor, show mouse cursor. Remove all widgets, and then we can open the level and go back to Cornwallington. If it is a trainer battle, so it is false on the encounter, we destroy the actor. Again, it's the encounter Ringmon. They use the same setup function for when we spawn an enemy in. We 2-second delay, then we check the next Trainermon, which again is exactly what we've covered already. This one's a little bit more messy, I apologize, but it's just doing the same health check. It's breaking that trainer party, it's checking their health, and then we're checking that, setting that current trainer index if it comes back that they do have enough health. Okay, I don't know why I've got one string 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Why did I? Oh, it's not plugged in. I don't know. Okay, well that's fine. Delete that. I must have just done that for checking, and I must not have deleted it. That's fine. Okay. So, yeah, we're doing the exact same thing we're doing with our Ringmon party. We're just checking that health, and then we're getting that current trainer index instead of getting the player index. And then if everyone's dead, we say all trainer dead, and we set the selector slot to 0. Okay? Exactly the same thing. It's just doing it for your trainers instead. Let's close a few of these down that we don't need. Okay, once we've selected one, again, we're just going to do, I'm not going to go through it because we've already done it. Spawn the trainer creature. It's the same function I've used. It's no different. If everyone's dead, we're going to say trainer defeated. Okay, which in here, now, oh yeah, so that's something different. Hold on. Let's go back to that in a second. Where am I? Sorry. Okay. So we have a function in our third-person character we're going to call in a moment. We'll go through that in a minute. That is to allow you to know if something is, if we've already defeated that current trainer. But we'll go through that in a minute. So that will set the trainer is defeated in the third-person character. We have a delay of 2 seconds. Win-loss. Again, we take it to win this time. Set the game mode to game only. Set the show the cursor to false. Remove all widgets. Open the level. But we need to determine, so when you're trying to work out what trainers are and aren't defeated, we need to basically store that value, okay? In our trainer slot, cast to the trainer game, we have a trainer state. We also have our trainer info, and every trainer holds an ID. We then need to check that ID, the trainer state, to see if it contains this trainer ID. If it does, we don't need to do anything. But if it's false, we need to modify our trainer state to defeated. And then we save that back to our trainer slot in the game, in our save slot. If we open it, this modified trainer state, it is literally just this, okay? It's not very complicated at all. We get the trainer state. Okay, this is in the trainer save game, by the way. This runs in the actual save file. So once you set up your trainer file with all your save variables, we need to update this, okay? This always stays constant between every level, and we need to make sure we know this save file knows what has and hasn't been defeated. So that's where the trainer state comes in. It is literally just a string with a map with a boolean added to it, okay? So what we do is we get the trainer state, which is that variable you should have created now with a map with the boolean on it. We get the length, okay, and we get that. We get this. We'll do a print string in a second. But all that matters, really, to be honest, is this add, okay? So we take off from the trainer state. We do an add, okay, just like that. We put our trainer UI into it, and we put our defeated into it, okay? And what that does is it basically will do a check when we talk to our trainers of whether we've defeated them or not. So if we go back to our third person character, so let's just go through it one more time. We get the trainer save. We get the trainer state that we've now set up. We check to see if this contains the trainer ID. If it does, we don't need to do anything. But if it doesn't, we need to mark it as defeated. Okay, so we modify that trainer state, which is a function we've set up inside of our trainer save game. We're basically calling that function, and we're plugging in our trainer UID, and we're just setting defeated to true. And again, as I said, if we go back into this, it then takes that information through, and it adds that to that trainer state. Okay, so it knows the trainer ID, it knows that it's been defeated, and that's what we're using to drive whether we've defeated a trainer or not. if I open up this level, I believe I've added a little something in here as well that requires some use of that as well. Yep, here we go. So in our trainer level, we obviously do our usual stuff where we set all of our trainer information, but down here we're now getting a second section where we get the trainer slot, we load the trainer slot in, get cast to the trainer save game, we set that as a variable so we can call it later. We get all actors of our NPC master trainer. We do a for each loop. We get the trainer information and we break that up here, okay? We break that up here. We then get our trainer state from our new variable, the trainer save game variable. We get the trainer state that we've set up in that trainer save game. We do a find using this trainer ID. Okay, so we can break that information again here. Get the trainer ID. We do a find using that. If it comes back true the first time, and it comes back true the second time, so the first one is, so if we look at this find, the value associated with the key, default constructed if key was not found. And if that comes back true, true if an item was found, false indicates nothing in the map uses the provided key, okay? So if it comes back true, that this, so if these both, if we find, sorry, let me explain this, sorry, I'm going to slow things down because I'm getting confused. We do a find on this trainer state. Does this trainer ID come back true? It's in this state. That's the first check, okay? If it comes back true, it is in that list. It does a second true to make sure it's in the map, okay? That's what's happening, okay? So we need to do 2 branch checks. One if it's on the list, one if it's in the world. If both of those come back true, we set our trainer information that comes from this NPC on the map as defeated true, okay? That's what needs to happen to make sure that the system knows the trainer has been defeated, okay? It's a bit of a whirlwind, so if anyone gets stuck, please message me in the DMs on Discord, or just put it in the help section of the Discord. I help everyone on Wednesdays now, so it's a bit confusing. Hopefully you followed that along, but this is in the level blueprint, okay? Every level where you have trainers, so my world's actually going to be set up with world composition now, so potentially I won't need to ever load this more than once, only ever in my world map, okay, in the persistent map. So yeah, so that's that, okay. Let's go back to the battle proxy. So we need to add that in if the trainer is defeated, okay, so that we know the trainer is defeated. If it's false, we spawn the trainer in. Again, it's the same thing. Map goes back to 0, or false, sorry. Battle UI, all the buttons show up, and then we set move active and attack active both back to false. So that's how we set up those. The last thing we need to look at in today's episode is going to be, not there, in here, calculate team XP, okay? And if we go back to the event graph, oh god, calculate team XP. Yeah, here we go. So we now need to basically apply XP to all of our creatures, and the best way to do that is going to be, I'm going to do it in the way that the more current Pokemon games do it, in that you get your main Pokemon's XP, but then everyone else gets a portion, like a split XP portion, okay? So the first thing we need to do is work out, is it an encounter? If it's true, we times it by 1. We have an encounter float, by the way, an encounter float. And if it's false, it's 1.5, okay? That's the first thing that needs to happen, okay? Because if it's an encounter, if it's a trainer battle, you get 1.5 XP for every fight. Whereas if it's an encounter, a wild encounter, you don't get any boost whatsoever. So then what we're doing is we're doing a lovely math expression. Okay, we're going to get our current Ringmon's current level. And we're also going to get our selected Partymon. Now this is very confusingly named, I apologize. The current Ringmon is our enemy, the enemy we're focusing on, okay, the enemy we're fighting. The selected Partymon, hopefully, is a bit more self-explanatory. That is our current Ringmon we have in battle, okay, our Ringmon we have in battle. Okay, so we are getting our current Ringmon's base experience. We're also getting the current Ringmons we're fighting current level, okay, and then we have that encounter variable we've created to determine whether it's a wild or a trainer encounter. And all we're doing here is we're getting our base experience, we're timesing it by our enemy's current level, we are timesing it by our encounter, again that 1 or 1.5, and then we divide the whole thing by 7. And that gives us our given XP. Now, you can obviously see here, this end part here is just loading the party slot, casting to the party slot, and saving all that information to our party save. You can see my party save has grown quite a lot in the last few weeks, but obviously all the main ones you should see here are already still there. We'll cover evolution in the next episode, so don't worry about that one for now. But the trainer information obviously is very important, and from here everything else should still be the same as it has been in previous episodes, I believe. So once that's the saving part, okay, and then we just return the node, okay. So it's these two things we have to focus on. So the first one is giving our current Ringmon their XP. Let's do that first. Now it looks very confusing, but I promise you it works. I have done vigorous testing on this, so please just try your best to follow along. So excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. I do apologize if I'm coughing through this episode a little bit. So the first thing we need to do is just give some XP. So first thing, let's say we take our given XP variable, okay, and we get our selected creature, get the creature information, and we get the current XP and we add it to it. Then we say, is that over our maximum XP that we can have at this point in time? If that's false, obviously we're just going to add it together, okay? So we take that given XP, add it to our current XP, and then we just plug it into the current XP because it's just getting added to it, right? And then we set the selected party. Everything else needs to be plugged in together, and then we will need to add EVs and add our EVs, and then we add that update Ringmon party function we use a lot to make sure it all gets saved correctly. So to add the EVs, this is very simple. We just need to get all of our base stats from our current Ringmon. That's why I saved the base stats to the current Ringmon. You can also just get them from the data table if you'd rather. It's completely up to you, but I always think because I have them saved, I'm just going to use them. So, and then we need to get Sorry, this is from our current Ringmon, by the way, but it's still the same thing. I saved them for this reason. We get our current Ringmon, okay? We get all of its base stat values, and all we are doing is adding them to our creature EVs. So we get the EVs, we get the HP, the attack, the defense, the special attack, the special defense, the special speed, and then we just add them together, okay? Now, I should technically do a check here, which I've just realized, to see if they are at the maximum. And if they are, we don't add anything else, okay? But I can always add that in. It takes 2 seconds. You guys should know by now how to do that. It's literally just, you're doing a check, okay? You're adding them together. You're doing a check to see if those EVs are past their maximum. If they are, don't add them, okay? It's as simple as that. And if they are, then you can, okay? You just do them via a series of branches. It's fine. But yeah, and then once that's done, you can set your selected party, okay? Yeah, I will add that in, but yeah, you guys should be able to do that without me. It's literally just doing a couple of checks to see if any of them come back as over the maximum, and if they are, just don't add them, okay? You'll just need to use a series of branches probably to get it working like that, but that's fine. Or sequences would work just as well, you know, either one, you make the decision. And then you set the selected party mon, okay? That's adding the EVs. Okay, and we'll use this function every time we need to add EVs. Okay. Oh, I've gone back too far. Where am I? Calculate. I'm in there. Okay, so that's adding the EVs, then we update the Ringmon party. If it's true, it's over the maximum, okay, we need to do a check to see if the creature has reached its maximum level. Is it equal to 100 for me? If that's true, we do nothing. We just return the node. We don't need to do anything. It doesn't need to re-roll anything. It doesn't need to add EVs. It doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to return the node, okay? If it's false, we take this given XP plus current XP, and we minus our max XP away from it. So we're left with what I refer to as the buffer XP, okay? So if we're looking for 100 XP and we have 120, we should now have 20 in our buffer XP, okay? and then we increment our current level. Okay, so we get the selected Partymon, get its creature info, get the current level, and we do an increment. So if it's like 5, it will now go to 6. Okay, and then we are left with our buffer XP. We then need to do a couple of things here to get this selected Partymon variable sorted. The first thing is we plug in our increment XP up into our new current level. So that goes from 5 to 6. It goes up here and it sets it at 6. We also need to work out what our new max XP is going to be. So to do that, we take our current level, we plug it into level, okay, and then we also have an XP divide, which is just divided by 5. It's just a 5. You could also just do this, to be perfectly honest. I'm just doing it very fancy. You could just do that, okay? But I like to plug mine in with a variable. So we do, mine's the fast XP method as well, by the way. It's not the slow XP. So mine is 4 times level times level times level divided by 5. That's the fast XP code. It's the easiest code, hence why I picked it. And you then will get your level integer you can plug in and your divide. If it's stuck as a float, just click on it and you can change it down here to a different variable. And then that gets plugged in to your max XP. And the XP buffer goes into your current XP, okay? That's where it goes. It goes in there, all right? And then we come down here and we set, okay? Yeah, that should be fine. I think that should be fine. I've just realized a mistake I've made. That doesn't need to go into there. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. I've done it right. Sorry. XP buff goes into there. That sets that as your current XP. Now, what if you've gone up 2 levels? This is what we need to think of as well, okay? So, but that still makes sense, okay? Don't worry about that. If you're thinking, why has he done that? What if he's got more than, like, if your next XP was 120, what if he had 140 left in his buffer? Don't worry, we'll come to it. Don't worry. Stop thinking about it, okay? So everything gets plugged in, boop, 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 boop. The only thing that should be getting changed is your XP buffer goes into your current XP, and your maximum here, your new level, workout goes into your maximum XP, okay? That's the 2 things, and then your current level also needs to be plugged in. So there should be 3 changes being made to this code, okay? Then you bring it all the way down here, and it gets set here as your selected Partymon, okay? So everything should be set at this point. Now we need to do our move set, our EVs, our roll final stats, and update the Ringmon Party. Obviously, you already have that one done, so let's go through the other 3. Check move set. It's very similar, okay, to what we've been doing before. We get the selected Partymon, we break everything down so we get his move slots. I have a new function added into my basic information called learnable moves. It is exactly the same strat as your move slots. It's just that any moves you learned that are more than 4 moves. So if you have 4 moves, if you get a 5th or a 6th or a 7th move, it gets added to a learnable moves because I want mine to be changeable, like the latest games, okay? That gets set to move slots, and you set your learnable moves, okay? They get set as new variables, array variables, all right? Then we get our base stats in the data table row using the row name of our creature. That's auto-saving, I apologize. Yeah, we plug the name in of our creature, okay, into the data table row, so we get our creature's name back. Break the row to get the level up move set. It should all look relatively familiar as to when we're setting our moves in our encounters or and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll keep going anyway. Okay, I fixed a load of bugs in this, by the way, so hopefully this should all be working for you if you follow it along. We get the data table of move list, and we're doing for each loop to get the move we want from the list, okay? And we're doing a find. So that goes into a find with the level up move set, okay? And then we're doing a check to see if we found anything. If we don't, we didn't find anything, okay? It comes back didn't find. Then we do a check to see if the integer that's associated with the find is equal to the current level of our creature. If that's false, it's no level. We didn't get the right level, okay? It's not a level there. But if it's true, we add that array element into here and get the move list. Then we break that move list and we create a new move slot strut variable that we make to get this all added and set. And then we set is set, okay? We set that slot is set true. Once we've done that, we have to do a secondary check. Now this comes down for when we're looking for other creatures' levels. Moves, sorry, I should say them. This is more for the rest of your party when they're leveling up also, okay? We get the added move. We break it to get the move name. Does it equal to blank or none, for example? If that's true, we do nothing. But if it's false, it does have a different name, it's not blank, or any of those sort of scenarios, we do another branch check, okay? We're now checking to see if our creature's move slots, the variable up here we've set, is it equal to 4? Do we have 4 items in there? Is there 4 integers in that array? If that comes back true, we have got 4 moves. It gets added to the learnable moves. Okay, we add the add move into an add unique with the learnable moves. If it comes back false, we don't have 4 moves in that array. We can then add the new move. It gets and we add a unique move. Okay, it's important. It's unique. We don't want multiples of the same move by accident. We then set our party slot. Okay, and the move slots is the same thing as with the what we looked at earlier. You're breaking everything to get the moves, and instead of plugging moves and learned moves in there, we plug those 2 variables we set up here into them instead. Then we clear that added move variable. We have to clear it, okay? If we don't clear it, then potentially other ring mons could get the same move if a mistake was made. So we clear that off so there's nothing in there. Let's go back to here. We then add our EVs again, okay? Same exact function we've created, and then we're rolling our final stats, which is exactly like we did when we roll our stats when we select our creatures or our ring mons. The only difference is we are now dividing our EVs up, okay? So everything's the same. You'll notice it. I'll slowly go over it. It should all be the same, okay? Everything's the same. We're base stats. We've got the base stats there as well. We're breaking everything. We're checking the names. We're doing all of that stuff, okay? And we're setting that party mon variable there. Everything's getting broken as it would normally. The only difference is we are getting the EVs, okay, not the maxes, the normal ones, and we're dividing those by 4. Those get added into an add, okay? So whatever those turn out to be. So if you had 120 EVs, you'd get obviously a value of 30 back, yeah, and that would get added to your formula, okay? So I haven't done the math expression, I should, but it's the old way of doing it. So it's divided by 2. Let's do health, divided by 2, add your HPIV in, you add your EV in, which is divided by 4 there. Then you times it by your current level, divided by 100, add your current level to it, and then you add 10 for HP, okay? That's the general rule of thumb with this. But that's your formula, okay, for health. So you need to make sure you add your divided by 4 for your EVs in, okay? That's the thing. And the other thing you need to do is break your final struct stats and make sure you're adding everything back in, okay? So this sets your max, but you need to make sure whatever your values originally were get added back in, okay? You could set them back to their defaults if you wanted to. That's what the Pokemon way does, but mine's going to keep their additions and decreases still relevant, okay? Until you heal or whatever. And then you just obviously set it and then return the node. And then it's updating your Ringmon party, okay? If you have any questions, again, just join the Discord. I answer questions on Wednesdays, so I will help you if you need it. Then we get our selected party mon. We get the basic information. We check to see if that XP buffer was still higher than the max XP. If it is, We do another check to see if we haven't leveled up. So if we were like level 99 and we gained a ton of XP and we were going to level up twice, so we would eventually have been 101, we do a check to see if our current level is equal to our max level. If that's false, we then take our XP buffer again, we minus off that max XP and we reset the XP buffer. And we go all the way back round into the increment level, and then the whole process carries on again. We reset the new current XP as the new XP buffer, and the cycle begins again. And any time that one of these don't match up, we just return the node, okay? Because we'll have updated the Ringmon party there. That's why that doesn't matter being in there. It doesn't have to be current XP on stuff. We can, because if we at any point have less XP than the max, that will always be the current XP. And as a result, we'll update our Ringmon party, and that will be the new current XP anyway. And then we just return our node. And that's literally the gist of it. If we go back into here, the other Partymon section is pretty much the same, but we have this extra menu. And what this is doing is it's doing a couple of things. It's taking that given XP. This is why I use a different variable for given XP and XP buffer. Is that we need to divide it by 5 to be able to give a split XP, which is this here. So we have our third person character, we get the Ringmon party, we have our slots. We have a sequence here. This is going to happen 6 times, but I'm going to show you the top one and you just copy it down. We check to see if this our current party index that we set is equal to our party slot index. So for example, if it was 0, it would equal 0, or if it was 1, it would equal 1, and so on and so forth down the line. If it comes back that it's not equal to our current party index, we want to make sure it doesn't equal it, because we've already given our main party's XP. We want to give everyone else their split XP, so we don't want it to match to the current party index. So if that comes back false, that's great. Then we want to check to see if the slot is set. The reason for that is that if it doesn't have a Ringmon in there, we don't need to worry about it. So we can just go false. Okay? And if it's false, we just carry on with our day. If it's true there is something in that slot, we need to check to see if its health is above 0. If it's not above 0, it's not gaining XP. It's not going to level up. Okay? So we need to make sure it's over 0. If it's true, that's great. We will give it some XP, and then we're basically getting the Ringmon party. We're setting the member. We're not setting everything. We're setting the member. And then we are setting the Ringmon party. Okay? So it's only updating those individual slots. Okay? Throughout the whole of this process. And it will run through every single one of them until all of them are done. So now we need to create a function. And that function needs a party info struct type going in and out. It needs to go on either side of the function. Reason for this is that whereas with the other party we could just grab the information of the current party, we can't do that with this one. We need to set each slot individually. But we don't want to make 6 functions to do that individually. We want to use one function to do everything. So to do that, we're putting the slot in and we're putting that slot out. And then once that slot's set, we can put the next slot into that function and then back out again, and etc, etc. So it's doing it individually for each slot member, but it's doing the same thing. So let's go into the give slot information, split XP, sorry. We're getting that slot, we're setting it, okay? We're setting that slot so that we don't have to have straggly lines going everywhere. And then we're doing exactly the same thing. We're using the split XP, we're adding it to this current XP. We're doing the same thing here, split XP plus our current XP. Is it greater than our max XP? If it's false, we're doing that thing I just said where we're setting that creature's information. And we're just setting the current XP. If that comes back true, we check to see if its current level is equal to its max. If that's false, that's great, we can carry on. And then we work out what our XP buffer is. We use the same variable, we don't need to make another one. And we minus off that from our max from our split plus our current to set the XP buffer. We increment the current level. This is all pretty much the same, okay? Instead of putting it up there, I'll just put it down here. It's exactly the same though. We have our math expression for the level times level divided by 5. And we add our XP buffer into this, okay? And we are just setting this slot. Okay, this is a new variable, by the way. To get that, I promoted this to a variable. I just did promote to variable. Okay. So we set that slot. Okay. Then we're doing exactly the same thing. We add the other Ringmon's moves. It's exactly the same code. No different. Okay. It's all the same. Did I do any differences here? No, I don't think I did. The only difference is I had to put the slot in. Okay. And it's exactly the same. I don't know why I didn't hook that in. That's weird. But it all works exactly the same. The only difference is that we're pushing the information in and out through the code. But it's all exactly the same as the other one. Again, even there, we're doing the added move. We check to see if it's equal to blank. The only difference is for the true, we have to add the slot out on the return node so that the code can keep going. Okay, so don't forget to do that. And you can just plug that slot in straight into that slot out. And then in here we need to have that go out. Otherwise what will happen is all of this will be for nothing and they won't get their new move. So that's fine, we can compile that. Let's go out of here and then we roll our other Ringmon stats. Again, same thing, the slot comes in, we roll all the new values, remember to do your EVs as well, and then the slot goes back out. It's exactly the same. Okay, I've just called them different functions just for my own sanity and I know what's going on. And then we set the slot back afterwards. The slot gets set before, we do all that information, the slot gets set afterwards. Then we're doing a check of the slot so that we can see if the XP buffer's done. If that is true, we check to see if it's equal to the same level, and then we minus the XP buffer off if that's false. If they're not the same level, we can carry on. At any point we break, we must set the slot and return the node, okay? The reason for that is that, again, it has to come back out of the function so that when we... gosh, what have I done there? We have to make sure it comes back out so that we can set it in the set member and the third person character Ringmon party. And you just copy and paste this down and make sure that you're just adding in the different slots along the way. And so, for example, if the number 1 slot wins and we have 3 creatures here, they'll all get XP, they'll all get their moves rolled, they'll get all of their final stats rolled as well. So it all works in unison, okay? And then, again, when we come back to here, we just load the party from slot, party save, do all the saving, and we're done. And that is literally it. I went through that last bit quite quick, and that was probably the most complicated bit. It's because we're getting close to the hour mark. I do apologise, but if you have any questions, please ask me in the Discord. I'm more than happy on Wednesdays to look at people's code and do all that kind of good stuff as well. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope this works for you and it's working well. I'm more than happy to help, as I said, and thank you so much, guys. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. You can always change your mind, and I'll see you in the next episode, which will be covering evolution, which will be way easier. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye.